Well, here we are again, HIGGSYS garage, and I've just come back from Stafford October Classic Bike Show, and as usual I've ended up buying a bike. Totally the opposite of what I went for. I went there to sell exhausts and I always end up buying a bike and coming back with one. So this is what I bought this time. It's a SUZUKI TS400. I think it's 1975. It's come from America, it's come with the title, and I have heard it run, surprisingly. So there you go. So I'm going to pull it to bits and give it the HIGGSY treatment and tidy it up. So it looks quite a tidy thing to start with. Just to point out some of the worst bits, the side stand is missing and the frame is badly gouged, so I'll have to sort that out. The other side panel's missing. The tank's got a fair bit of rust on it, and in fact there's a fair bit of rust pretty much everywhere, but I think most of it will clean up. The rims look good, so I think the rims will go again. So I'll just have to get myself some new spokes. The only other bad thing about it is the lug for the front brake cable has snapped off, so I'll have to give that to Paul to do a bit of aluminium welding on there and fix that. He should be able to do that okay, and then I'm going to completely strip it today and get everything off for powder coating, and then I'm going to cut all the spokes off, get the hubs out, vapor blast them, and start the whole job. So let's do another video and see how we get on. There she is, it's running. Too bad, that, doesn't it? There you go. Okay, TS400. Let's get started. So, as you heard, it runs. It's a runner, but there's some really nice bits about it. It's the rims are really good. I think those rims they won't need re-chroming. I'll just use those again. Obviously the engine runs, so I'll probably take it to bits anyway. But yeah, there's some half decent bits on it. So let's start pulling it to bits. Let's give everything a good soaking in WD-40 before we start. So, yeah, I've started taking it to bits. So I've got loads of boxes lined up for all the parts to go into, and I'm starting one box that's specifically for rezinking. So all the nuts and bolts that I take off that are specific, like the spindles and the rear wheel nuts and bits and pieces that need rezinking, I'm going to put them into a separate bucket so I can get them wire brushed and rezinked. Right, let's crack on. Right, that's a lot of photographs taken of the wiring. Always worth doing that before you start taking it to bits, because eventually when you do come to put it back together and you think, where did that wire go? I'm not quite sure. You can always refer back to your photos. Like now I'm taking the wiring clips off, and again it's really handy to know where these wiring clips were originally. I have no reason to believe that this isn't all original. Right, almost ready to take the engine out. So, let's knock the bolts out. That one's out. Is that one out? Yeah. So. That's all of them. Just lower it down a little bit. Rear bench. Make some room for it. Get my big lever. Oop. Oh, don't want to move, does it? Yes, it does. Oof. A bit lower. Which side it wants to go out. Mine's to be this side, isn't it? Now just let the bench down a little bit, remember. That's it. Oops. I wonder if I should have taken that off. Might be easier. Nearly. Good job of seeing the chiropractor on Thursday. frame, swing it on. I've got everything separated off to the powder coaters now. Powder coaters. I'll set about the wheels and get everything on the go. The engine's in bits, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so here's the wheels. I've taken the easy option to get the spokes out. The angle grinder. So I've just got the angle grinder to all the spokes, cut them all off. There's the original rims and there's the original hubs. I'm going to take the bearings out of the hubs, get some new ones, and then vapor blast the hubs, get them nice and clean, polish up the rims, and then lace them all back together with new spokes and bearings. Okay, welcome back to HIGGSYS Man Cave, and we're on with the TS250. So this is the part of the video that I don't normally show too much of, because basically it's just me grafting away in the garage. I generally show me taking it to bits and then putting it back together. This is all the in-between stuff, but I'm just going to show you what goes on and what's what. So there's all the rear hub and the sprockets, which I've had to measure up because nobody knows what a TS400 is in this country. I've had to match up the sprockets to get some new ones sent out. There's the clutch and the oil pump and the rest of the internals. A lot more of the stuff that's all come off that's going to have to go back on later on. There's the rack, there's the spark arrestor, which I'm probably not going to use because I want to make a bit more noise. And so yeah, I've done all the vapor blasted. So this is the clutch cover, and this is the rest of the engine and vapor blasted here. So this has all been vapor blasted and this is all waiting to go back together. But I think I am going to send a lot of it off to be polished. So you've got the rear brake hub and the sprocket cover, front brake hub and the ignition cover, generator cover and the clutch cover. I'm going to send all those off and get those properly polished, and the rear hub there. I'm going to send all those off. Well, that's actually the front hub. I'm going to send all those and get those polished before I reassemble it all, so it's going to look all nice and shiny. Now this is the engine going back together. They're quite a complicated thing to put together. Not like a Yamaha RD or a Kawasaki where you just split the cases top and bottom and all the bits go in, then you just put the lid back on. These crankcases split side to side or horizontally. Is it horizontally or vertically? I don't know. Anyway, either they split the opposite direction to most of the stuff that I normally do, which makes it really complicated. So, which means you've got to stuff all the gearbox bits and the selectors and the selector drum and the selector forks and everything all back in the cases before you drop the other half of the crankcase back on it. So that's how you have to do it, and you have to put it onto blocks of wood so you can get the crankcase to the actual crankshaft to stick down when you're bolting it all back together. I've got a new gasket for it and that's waiting to go on, but at the moment I'm just waiting for the crank seals. So I've got some nice new I've got some nice new bearings here to go on. These are the old crank bearings there. These are the replacements, and I'm waiting for replacement crank seals, which to replace the original ones, which I pretty much had to damage getting out, but they're 40, 50 years old anyway, so they need replacing, so I'll automatically do that. So new bearings and seals on the crank, and then the crank cases can go together. This is the other half of the crankcase. I've started to reassemble the kickstart assembly on there, which is quite complicated on these. It actually goes inside the crankcases, so unlike RDs and all that kind of stuff where you can pull it out from the outside once you've got the clutch off, you can't. This is actually buried inside the engine. So I've done all that. So the barrel's looking nice there, all nicely vapor blasted. The head looks fantastic, so that's all good to go. The rims, I've obviously chopped all the spokes off. I'm waiting for the new spokes to arrive, but I've started polishing up these rims. I've finished the front one, which is the one on the front here. So this one's done now, and it's looking pretty good. I'm halfway through the back one, and quite a bit more work, a bit more elbow grease to go into that one, and then that should be ready for rebuilding. And then this is this is where the real this is where the real restoration happens. The wire wheel, the wire brush. So all the stuff for zinking has got to be wire brushed before you send it off for zinking. So basically, this is the rest of the pile of bits that have yet to be wire brushed, and then going into zinking. This is the stuff that has been wire brushed, ready to go to the zinkers. So that's all been wire brushed. All of that is going to get re-zinked, and I'm going to wire brush it all on here and stick it on there. As you can see, you've got the front and rear brake levers. You've got the axles, everything, the front brake stay arm, the spring, the whole lot. Everything that's going to get re-zinked is all in that box, and this is where the real restoration happens. So as soon as I've done all this, get all the zinking back, rebuild the wheels, the frame and all the black stuff is away being powder coated. So when that gets back, I can start rebuilding. Here's a pile of new bits on the floor. So we've got new headstock bearings there, we've got complete new set of wheel bearings, complete new set of cables, brand new battery, and all that kind of stuff. So let's see how we get on with it all.